Yes, the boohoo effect here. This is mainly a response video to Tracy, because Tracy cannot stop intervening in all of my disputes and defenses against others. So she has been begging for my attention, despite that I have a full schedule of work lately, and I've sort of made that known here and there in other productive real-life engagements. Tracy has been begging for this type of video response from me to her for 10 years now on such lowbrow, shallow, and insignificant made up stories of Tracy. Obviously, the drive to entertain these shallow mind games of Tracy's was not ever a priority of mine. But here we go. Let's listen to a segment of their little contrived little hangout that they're so proud of. You must be referring to the time back in 2011. You know, when Katie was pretending that she had changed for the better, that she was leaving that Smiley gang that she hated so much, a gang known for terrorizing people's families and children. You know, like Paige, your daughter, right, Tracy? At a time I believe I was talking to somebody who was supposedly new and improved, a changeover person that could be trusted. Yes, Tracy, you were making several videos about me, attacking me, ridiculing me, and making disparaging comments directed to myself publicly. Basically, calling me stupid for befriending such a backstabber like Katie, right? And how Katie will eventually betray me. And guess what? It all came true. You were right, Tracy. Pat yourself on the back. I'll give you that one. So let me ask you this, though. What does that make you, Tracy? An even bigger fool? Why have you befriended this same person that you were warning me about and ridiculing me about? Are you going to now claim that it was all a misunderstanding back then on my part, on your part, regarding Katie and how she was the most misunderstood and victimized person on the internet? Is this it? Is this her whole theme of Katie's? Of course. Also based on her fake apologies in a plan to gain credibility by further endorsed lies. Like I said, if a person is truly sorry, they will correct their wayward path, right? Does that make sense? Not repeat them over and over and over. Now, wouldn't this be the very definition of insanity? Would you not agree to that, Tracy?
Boohoo did mention that in a comment the other day somewhere. I can't remember where it was. Right, he claims that, you know, during the period of time that you and him were friends, and that
Yeah,
I was right.
Yeah, we were only friends for like 3 weeks. That was it.
Yeah, but Boohoo claims that I was raging and making videos squawking that you were friends. Wasn't the fact
Nope,
that
you never
you
did.
were actually still you were still fighting with me. Every time I responded to you.
When are you going to grow some shame, Tracy, and stop insulting people's intelligence here? Everybody that knows better, anyhow, is not buying into your current state of contrived stories. If they do, they're just like you and are presently in the in-group game that will cover up and bury the truth, because most around here is not interested in what's really true and what is not true. It's all about winning, right? For the lulz. So much win. Do you remember that account name? Like you and Katie, they are only interested in winning this game at all cost, at whatever cost it may take. For what? What is this all about? This exchanging back and forth. Adulation, of course, praise. Isn't that what you seek? To be known as a feared and tough troll because apparently mommy and daddy never nurtured you or Katie properly as a child. Now, since you two have been this team for what, going on 4 years now, who would be the bigger fool here as far as knowingly supporting and befriending Katie's online insanity? You know, her lies, deceit, criminal thinking, slander, the chaos that she creates. Knowing that we know about Katie today in 2020 of July, who would be the bigger fool here? You, Tracy, or me? Birds of a feather, right? Isn't that what draws you so close together publicly on the internet? How deep to the point of no return are you with her, Tracy? Huh? Tell me, how much ammunition has Katie amassed against you now, if you two were ever at odds with each other again? How long will Katie be able to hold back and suppress her natural scrupulous ways? It must be bad, because that little recent spat that you two had, starting on Facebook, ending to the point where it seemed like a stalemate to try and go at each other again, it just kind of ended. You took off, Katie took off, went silent. It seems like that you two decided it would be better off for both of you to just disappear, to leave the trolling altogether. I personally think it's because you guys know too much about each other. You know too much personal issues and facts about your personal life. There is no doubt to the mind that you two have foolishly shared too much information with each other. And by the way, I was not ignoring you, Tracy, when I left Facebook. No, I wasn't. I left because you were too much energy, filled with your conspiracy-based questions and preconceived theories about as to why I was talking to Katie and not personally directing what I said to Katie to you, and not through Katie. Here's the thing, Tracy. I was talking to the both of you as simultaneously, trying to get to Katie first and finish with her, then get back to you. It was not a conspiracy theory. It was nothing planned, nothing schemed behind your back to get you, okay? But as always, with you, nothing is real. Everything is fake. Online fights are all staged. No argument in public is real. It is all a secret plot to take over the world, right? Coincidences do not ever happen. Everything has a divine purpose, a mysterious dark karma purpose. If the planets are aligned correctly, it's gotta be that. Just look up some videos here on YouTube about paranoid delusions, Tracy. By and large, the definition accurately describes your familiar condition that you have consistently displayed on the internet. I mean, I am sorry to have to even say this, but it is true. I should know, right? I mean, I don't even want to come off like I am being mean here, Tracy, but you have some serious mental illnesses that you really should try to get a hold of once and for all. Really, ask yourself this then. Has your online entertainment enhanced your overall well-being and life? Has it? Or has it made it problematic from the start? Now, be truthful with yourself and your mind, Tracy, because I am being completely honest and sincere here. What you do online, you cannot possibly think that this is all normal, that this is healthy and acceptable by any extent. I know that you are much wiser and smarter than this, seriously. But something tells me that you do enjoy all this hatred and negativity, because in so many words, you yourself have stated this to me, that you do enjoy this, which you do online to others. Obviously that you do, right? You have to go by past actions, right? I had gathered this delusional condition of yours about you long ago. But as the loyal to a fault friend that I am, that I stayed with you. I chose to overlook it all, exercise unconditional patience with you, and just consider the facts and the underlying conditions that you behold mentally. I'm like, hey, this is my friend. People have faults. People are not perfect, right? I moved on. And for what? Now that you have proven that it was never about what Katie stood for back then, when I was deceived by her, why would you make all those repeated public attacks at that time then? Jealousy. Plain and simple. The very thing that you have been chanting and accusing myself of for 10 years now, Tracy. Projection. Real projection on your part. This has been a constant theme of yours. You have an excuse every time out of one of your playbook theories about me. Tracy, it is no secret that you lie and make up stories for public viewing. I don't know who you think you're fooling. People already know what you're about. There are actually two different personalities about you that I have learned long ago. One, that you attack in public, motivated by any cost that will take to protect your pride, where onlookers is concerned. And the other, that is more docile and calmed and controlled in private. Why? Because you are so insanely obsessed with how you appear before others in the public eye. And how many people are we entertaining here that makes all this arguing such serious business? 5, 8, 10 people? Maybe sometimes you have 15 viewers on your little argument sessions there on the Hangouts. You think these few people really care anything about you? All this current trolling will all be forgotten soon enough and will be absolutely worth nothing in the end. I'm willing to bet that your own family will remember it all, though, Tracy. Is this how you really want to be remembered when you leave this life? This internet fighting and stalking is literally predominant in your life and has been for a very long time. It's what contributed to the erosion of your marriage. We know this. You told people this. In hindsight, is it all worth it? The overall personal hardships that you had to endure because of your trolling. Heck, you've even had conversations with your family out at dinner, talking about crotch vomit. Is this that serious of business with you? Nowadays, you have nothing better to do other than pick fights with others under trumped-up pretenses. Recently, Tiffany has done nothing to you. 0. But you have endlessly been attacking her nonstop with Linda and Katie, supporting everything that they have criminally dished out to her and her child. It's sick, and it's wrong. The false calls to CPS. Is this really the best interest for the children to just abruptly rip them away from their mother for no reason? Do you think these kids are going to understand your reasoning, Tracy and Katie? I won't even address this to Linda. I don't even consider him human. He belongs in prison, going after a child with the likes of Daniel Mitchell. I mean, all this was based on sexually explicit and a warped plan conspired with Daniel marrying Mitchell. And Linda, they're the forerunners. And Katie followed suit and supported it all. I mean, is this your brand of justice, jealousy, and revenge since you have not spoken one single word against it all? But you certainly pick out all the other small details against others. I mean, such a sick plan against Tiffany's younger child that I don't even want to allude to what was actually being waged against this little innocent boy. You have befriended Tiffany once before, haven't you? What's changed? Loyalty to Katie, the person who stalked your whole family? Or another Jenny girl is crazy and needs to be punished by you and Katie for her crimes against her kids. But now, Jenny girl is the victim because you are now targeting Tiffany, right? Is this it? More games? More of your brand of entertainment? This is all sick. And you don't see it as that, and that's disturbing. Since you are not working and living in the real world, Tracy, you think you can sit back and judge and treat others like this? For me to even be responding to your online petty games, your delusions, your lies, is pathetic enough. I'm busy. I don't have time for this nonsense, this hair splitting, your delusions. Your mental delusions, paranoid delusions, it's not my problem. It's your problem. I don't owe you any explanation. I don't owe you any personal time hard-earned time out of my life because you got issues within your own head. You got that? This is why I always just let you go on and merely respond to you in comments, because it's faster. It's a waste of time to go any further, unless I am forced to make a defense for myself or others on occasion. Let's just hear a little bit more of this hangout of yours. I can only take bits and pieces because I'm not making a 4-hour video long. I have to also explain myself, all right?
So I then say, now remember, this man is attacking me. He's ridiculing my cancer. He's lying about history. And I say, who's Braden? I could have easily just answered, but I say, who's Braden? Because even then, at this point, I won't say anything bad.
No, you certainly won't, Tracy, because you will just continue to call me out publicly, right? Without coming into me in private? Because that is where it really counts with you, isn't it? Your precious, precious public image. Calling me fat, a drunk, how I'm jealous of you, how I'm jealous of you talking to that person, how I'm projecting, how I want more attention, how am I irrelevant, how I'm inserting myself here, that I'm narcissistic, how I'm projecting, and on and on and on about your petty little theories that mean absolutely nothing in life, nothing in your life. I mean, you have been stuck on these particular accusations for 10 years now. This is a real problem that you have, isn't it? Off and on for 10 years, you have. And it's every time I exchange with someone. A few years ago, when you were in Justice League, Tracy, you were saying that I was upset because I wanted you to help me troll Tiffany. You say that I befriended Katie at that same period of time to underhandedly get at you. Everything with you, Tracy, is a conspiracy theory. Have you noticed that? A very timely, convenient one at that. Let me explain to you again what kicked off my issues in Justice League in around 2016. Douglas thumbs up a comment made by someone calling me a pedo. In response, it grew into exchanging with Douglas back and forth. Then you, as usual, as predictable, come along and started to insert yourself and got involved. Then Leet Hound, aka October Rage, which is not the original one, he copied that because I know that guy. I know that account holder. Aka Estrada jumped in and started intervening, and I started changing with him. And it just grew and spiraled from there. Now, could this really be your personal issues, Tracy? Again, why are these petty and small-minded issues so important to you? Why are you so bothered by these? Even if they were all true, what's it to you? I mean, I can understand if I was doing something seriously wrong here, but you keep following me around, splitting hairs on everything I do. And it's always when I'm exchanging with someone else who has started it on me some way, somehow. You're now claiming in a comment that I'm upset because you're not begging me to talk to you. What are you talking about here? Are these really your issues, Tracy? Or is this really projection on your part? You remember, you once stated something like this, something related to this in this area on Google+. You were saying something to the effect that if you are ignored, then you no longer feel you're needed. Is being ignored is what really cuts deep inside you, Tracy? Is that what sets you off? Is that why you become so angry? I mean, I watched a video about you going off the hook because I was talking to Katie. You were just, I would describe ballistic. I made myself very clear from the outset that my issues with Linda is none of anybody else's business but him. But like you, Katie could not help herself, and she injected herself into my beef with him. Why? Because for one, Katie likes to gaslight people to help her out in her constant beefs and vendettas with others around these parts. I stated to Tiffany that most of my trolls seem to be around 5 foot with slight mustaches. It was a joke, all right? No name was mentioned, but Katie then becomes unglued, and it merely gave her a convenient reason, in which she would have come up with one anyways, to attack Tiffany on things that threaten Katie. The same MO with Gam. Katie, simply put, she is a suicide troll. She's already had one success under her belt, and also almost succeeded with Gam. She publicly admitted that she will not stop on Gam until she takes her life. Those are her words, not mine. That was her confessed end game. I have screen captures, of course, to back all this up. And this eats at Katie that she cannot get her way with Tiffany. That was her main reason to kick off with Linda, to attempt to suicide Tiffany again. A convenient duo with Linda to gaslight with whatever Katie wants to come up with. She was seen making comments on Linda's video threads aimed at Tiffany, aimed at myself, and to everyone who had been on good terms or in talking terms with Tiffany. Linda, being scorned and obsessed with Tiffany, obviously had his own motives. Again, common target to match up together, right? With all Linda is inflicting against Tiffany is how he treats women in general. Did you know that? What he does online, rest assured it's in his mind. And it's how he treats women in his personal life. I'll guarantee you that. And this is somebody that Katie supports. She openly supports abuse onto women, abuse onto children. What was Tiffany's great crime? Nothing! Nothing personal towards Linda, other than that he expected more than what Tiffany was expecting. Apparently, right? Katie has been egging him on, making comments on his threads, gaslighting the issues further and further with Linda, until it always gets real extreme. There was Katie, that could be found, egging it all on. And you, Tracy, have been supporting all of this, because Katie merely has taken Gam's place with your online terrorizing of your own agenda. Katie was routinely defending James D. only against Daniel Mary Mitchell's allegation, but not the sick thing that he waged against Tiffany's child. She mentioned nothing of that. She's only mentioned it recently to cover her little butt, just in case there's a criminal investigation in which the authorities is looking into all of this. Now, why is that? It doesn't take a genius to figure all this out. Katie's motives is to bring down Tiffany, even if it includes abuse on her child. Isn't that what her actions is saying? We can't go by what she vocals out, what she voices out, but we have to go by her actions, right? They are all three on this scheme, and all three share the same motives, being scorned and or jealous of Tiffany. The same story. And if they were not, then why would they all just not move on and be spending their entire weekends doing something else instead of screaming and moaning about Tiffany? Why wouldn't they? If they had no problem with her, if they weren't jealous with her. And nobody even mentioned you at all, Tracy, in any issue. But here you come with the cavalry and conjured up arguments of your own instead of seeing all this for what it really is. The fact is, Linda featured a Daniel Mitchell video on his channel aimed at Tiffany and her child. All of a sudden, Linda knows fully of what he's currently doing and hosts his channel onto his channel. That tells me that he was on the same page as Daniel Mitchell because he was promoting it in the same manner that the Bubba Effect was promoting a channel that was harassing another guy's daughter. He was in on it. He was holding the bag. He was supporting it. He was promoting it. He hosted on his channel. And there is no exception with what Linda did with that video produced, made, and posted by Daniel Mitchell. No difference. I mean, shouldn't you be concerning yourself with more important things and worthwhile issues such as this? No, you are not, because you are not here for any righteousness or moral sake. You are here for the attention and praise, nothing else, Tracy. Now, you will deny all this, of course, clear to your deathbed. But your history paints the truth. If somebody is telling you about them, believe them, as Tiffany has been quoting. And that is such a wise saying. There's a lot of meaning to that. It's applicable. You cannot deny your history. It is chock full of boasting and chest puffing on what a badass, fearful, ruthless troll that you are. The sad part is you actually believe in your mind that this is a real accomplishment in your life. Both yourself and Katie's history has a very ugly criminal past to it. And you're proud of this, right? Sifting through all of your old files about you, Tracy, truly spelled out to me. I mean, I sat there and I literally asked myself, intrapersonally, why in the hell did I ever defend a person like this? What a waste of time. And fast forward 10 years later, here I am having to defend myself against you, Tracy, and you teaming up with the very one that I defended you against, the one that stalked your kids. And your reasoning, because I'm jealous of this and this and that, of you and Katie, because I'm playing these games, because you won't talk to me, this is a reason to attack me? Attack me with Katie? I mean, where is your head? And you know good and well how it all kicked off with you and the Smileys. I mean, if you cannot get my attention in a friendly manner, you'll just start attacking and making up stories to get my attention. It's like that one grade schooler that we probably went to school with, who shows how he really likes a boy by abusing him, who may kick him or name call him because she really has a crush on that boy. This is you, Tracy. It is. This illustration describes you. You're that first grader, that grade schooler, that kicked that boy in school and constantly attacked him with ad hominem attacks. Now, I will give you this. I did mistakenly have thought that you were the one who gave Katie my Facebook handle. I mean, who would have thought otherwise, right? I should have known that Katie has always been the person who has been constantly stalking and skulking me everywhere I go. It's just like how she found me on a Google Plus account of mine. It wasn't even active. I was just minding my own business, posting things. It merely acted as a blog. And who found me? Katie, reminiscent of Facebook. Also, the Bag of Bones channel, I did think it might have been you. And I was wanting your reaction, but I believe it was Katie. But, I thought it could be you, Tracy, because you do have a history of double trolling me for a long while. You just don't think I have it all figured out. You don't think that I know which ones are you, most likely. You have been supporting issues that you once fought with great vigor yourself, like the Brianna Greathouse account, and now the facts surrounding what happened to Chang. Why do you flip-flop at the drop of a hat? Mainly to get at me, if need be. That is why, because you get that upset. And I don't believe there's any morals that you have to trade in, because they were never there in you to begin with. Because you hate it when I'm not speaking to you. And just going about my own business, and always at a time when I'm defending myself. How convenient, huh? Let's listen in a little bit more on your petty little shallow stories. Let's listen in on this hangout again.
Because I was afraid if I wasn't here that you would get paranoid and think things. So
I was
tried
going
to
through,
be here.
yeah.
So,
I was very paranoid during that time, and it was not a good play. I was not in a good headspace.
Okay, let's stop here. You know what the context is here? Katie is trying to carefully swerve around the cones, as it were, because this is in the context of Katie not only getting paranoid, but she mentally broke due to the constant push from Tracy to troll for her. That's what this is about. This is the context. Remember what Katie instant messaged Forrest recently on Skype? You remember what she stated? Forrest posted it in a video. Just to paraphrase, she basically said, I cannot take this anymore. Tracy wants me to fight for her 24/7. That is basically what she stated to him. And I can personally attest to this. For 10 years off and on myself. In the beginning, I was fighting all of Tracy's online fights around the clock. I once told her that I have to do some catching up on my outside landscape. I have some work to do because my lawn is completely dead. What did Tracy, how did she respond? She absolutely did not care, and she never has. That's the last thing that Tracy's going to care about is a dead, unwatered lawn over here in the States, right? She's focused on her computer screen, right? The addresses, Googling people, stalking them, seeking out their babies, right? Tracy never wants to hear anything other than what she wants you to do for her. It was mostly supporting her on the comment threads because Tracy exactly doesn't really favor commenting to a person directly by choice. She favors planned yapping on videos where it's easy to just sit back and comfortably spew out lies at will. Around good company, right? Friendly fire. Sounding boards who beholds the same agenda and grudges that she does. In this case, Katie, of course. Most recently, and one of the deciding factors for me to separate myself from you, Tracy, is every time I don't get back to you on Facebook soon enough, you start to play the subtle, underhanded mind games. You remove yourself as my friend contact. And that's why I kept spelling out your name on Facebook to begin with, enabling somebody to type in your name and connect it to my Facebook account. And then you block me. And then you threaten to do a data drop on me, in which I asked you to explain what it means. And of course, you just quickly assemble together a lie. Another thing, Tracy, you are now conveniently retracting how it was not Katie who trolled your kids, and how it is now back to crotch vomit again. At the end of this video, in fact, I'm going to insert a little video clip of you stating without a shadow of a doubt the truth on who truly was responsible for trolling your kids, for stalking them out. And it was not crotch vomit. You two have got to stop blaming everything on this woman. She hasn't been around for years. Katie is an active one. Her vengeance is active, not crotch vomits. Crotch vomit left long ago. Katie, on the other hand, has had all the motives. Her natural inherent vengeance and grudge to do so. Being the most slanderous person around here, she was merely seeking out revenge for what Tracy and Gam did to her own kids by posting them up in videos as Smurfs. But Katie is now trying to make light of this recently to Tracy. But the truth is, child stalking is stalking, regardless of how they were sought out and stalked. There is no exception when you seek out children with the motives to mock, harass, and ridicule them. To make this even more amusing, you are now using Mike, aka Last of the 13, as credibility? You have got to be kidding me, right? I mean, really? This is what you're claiming to hold as weight? You really don't expect me to believe this, that this guy is credible on anything he claims, do you, Tracy? You're nuts. I don't buy in any word that guy spews out. Mike came dropping out of nowhere for one reason, and one reason only. What is that? To defend who? Well, the real plan in the back of his mind is to defend Annie White, to get the heat off Annie White, and to shift it over with a story behind it to who? Crotch vomit, the popular present scapegoat today. Note. For one, and another reason, is Mike is trying to win Annie's love back because obviously this guy was dumped by her. And he's trying to win her over again. Obviously. And, it worked. Mike did achieve his goal. To a large degree, he did. Tracy and Katie are not focused on Annie, and rightfully so. I never like calling out somebody that's not even around anymore harassing people. If they have quit, then don't beat a dead horse. There is no honor in that. They're gone. Leave it be. They quit, right? That was your own initial goal, was it not, Tracy? But what were you doing? You're beating a dead horse. And now all of a sudden, last of the 13 words are golden, are to be valued, to be held in high esteem, to be credible. I told you already in the comment threads, I don't take any word from a cyberbully. Let me tell you that, and I stick behind that. Another one of your issues is your ongoing delusions of conspiracy theories. They are now countless. Two that come to my mind readily is how you were claiming to me that the Bubba effect was dark zodiac. I mean, Tracy, I almost laughed in your face when you told me that. Why? Because your senses are clouded and diluted. They do not properly function correctly. You base this claim on supposedly their voices sounded alike? They sounded nothing alike. And I already know the Bubba effect is not Dark Zodiac because I know who the Bubba effect is, and I knew Dark Zodiac was another whole different personality, persona, image. Okay? There were two different people. A child can figure that one out. One was really fat, and the other one had a voice of a cocky smart aleck that liked to troll Von Helton, basically in a nutshell. You also claim that Azazel by 13 was around, trolling around this area, all based on what? Someone on Facebook mentioned the ghost Azazel. That's it. He just mentioned the word. He was talking about that ghost. I mean, now you and Katie share this mental condition together. It's all just enhanced chaos. This is why you two just naturally banter back and forth about one conspiracy to the next. These perceived delusions also gives both of you a convenient basis to keep the fights active. Because this is yours and Katie's entire life history for more than 10 years now and counting. This is what drives and motivates you two, isn't it? Lately, you have been garnering a little more attention with your hangouts because you have discovered lately that it is more effective on getting more attention upon yourself. Focused on you two, harassing people, gaslighting, trying to get more people to form a gang to gang stalk one woman and her child, right? Pretty sad. And this is why you two cannot stay away from each other. For what, going on 3 to 4 years now? Because you need each other. The chances of finding a fellow disturbed person like you two is remote. It's slim. Even if you two deep down cannot stand each other, you will still go back to one another, even if you had a little spat, because you simply need one another. I initially once thought that you were sincere in just wanting to exact revenge on what they did to Paige, way back when, whom I thought was you the whole time. But eventually I realized that this kind of warped, abnormal stuff is what you live for, Tracy. After all, how did you and Peter meet? Where was it? What did you tell me? Let me tell you then. Sociopath.com. Think about that. You met Peter on a site called Sociopath.com. That is telling, to say the least. I should have heeded caution right then and there upon first learning this about you. I mean, this is really disturbing when you really think about it long enough. sociopath.com. One has to rightfully ask themselves, why would anyone be interested in such a morbid form of entertainment for themselves to begin with? Is it mental illness upon yourself? Birds of a feather? Did you relate to the subjects on that site? I mean, really, Tracy, what else could it be? Are you proud of this? Did that site make you feel tough? You lied and used me as a tool to help feed your addiction with internet trolling and stalking, didn't you? Right out of the gate, Tracy, you lied about everything. All of what you were about, who you were, what you did. And you expect people who knows better to believe anything you claim against me as well? You really want people to believe everything you say and for them to believe that I am so madly obsessed and jealous over you, Tracy? Has this always been your goal? Let me ask you this. What makes you relevant, Tracy, to stick around here and not me? I mean, I'm not going to even, say that you're across the pond in Britain, in Wales somewhere. I'm not going to even use that against you. You have a right to use the internet and talk to anybody you want. But why are you here? What is your end game? What is your goals here? What are you doing? It's the same question I ask Zombie Killer. Sebastian, what is he doing here? Why is he here? What's his point? What's his end game? What's his goal? What's he want to accomplish here? Anything good? I mean, obviously, every time I go to defend myself against someone's attacks, you start to create another story that I am doing it all for you, because of you. All for my jealousy and obsession over you. Right, Tracy? Again, why are you here? What brings you around these parts and keeps you here? I just looked at the time. You see, I was afraid of this. This video is already grown way too long. Let me just end this here, all right? And start wrapping this up, what I want to say to you. And no, I'm not using scripts, Katie. I sometimes in the past, on a couple of my videos to Monograph and Agent 19, jot down a few words so I can go to the next subject, like my mental analysis about them. But I can guarantee you right now, I'm speaking from my heart. And I've always been told that, right? Do you use scripts, Katie? I mean, really, Tracy, why don't you just move on and do your thing? Why can't you do that? Why are you so interested in me? What compels you to do whole hangouts about me? Because I will tell you one thing right here and now. You do not own me, Tracy. You do not possess me. You do not control me. If you want to be around these parts, then fine. But if I want to be around these parts, I will too. And you can't stop me. If I want to innocently talk or respond to Tiffany or any other female for that matter, I will. You got that? Oh, and Katie, you can keep denying all you want about how you never described Chang 13A's last moments right up until he pulled the trigger. You see, Katie, unlike you, I was not the one recording our private conversation at the time. You want me to prove it? How would I? I'm not a backstabber like you are. You're the reason why people have to screen capture and record public videos to begin with, because of liar like you around these parts. Anyone could just simply take a good look at all of your history of lying and personal dealings with you, and they can immediately conclude without a shadow of a doubt that I am the one that is telling the truth when I go up against you. You're the known liar, not me. You. You lied about everything. You lied about the smallest of things, about how long we exchanged comments one time. It was not 12 hours. It was 8 hours. But you see, that's how easily you just lie and embellish things. You twist things. It comes natural for you. Just like Tracy, you flip-flop your stories and beliefs around issues depending upon whom you are currently teaming up with at the time. And myself, I've always held fast to what I know and what I believe in all truth and honesty of what I discovered about people and what they do wrong. Always. I've never wavered. Because for one, I was never here for friends. But you and Tracy, Katie, you and Tracy are. Rest assured that. That's why your feelings get so hurt over the smallest of things. If you don't have a mustache, then what is the problem? Why would it bug you to the point where you just lose all senses? My motives are very, very different from yours, Katie. As far as you claiming that it was not you who gave Linda my Facebook handle, then answer me this. Why haven't you supplied any screen capture? Live, that is. Showing Linda handing over you my Facebook handle. Why are there not any screen captures from Linda, Katie? Am I to take your word for it? Huh? Miss Screen Capture for your own deceptive agenda? Yeah. Is that what I'm supposed to do? Take your word for it? What is your word worth, Katie? Explain it away the next time you have one of your screaming fests, let's just call it. Also, a question for you, Katie. Why do you consistently connect every interaction between a female and a male as something sexually involved? Do you think this way, Katie? Is this the very reason why you have a long history of marrying and dating on the internet? Because you think pervertedly? For the fact that you are thoroughly convinced that I'm having a sexual relationship with Tiffany speaks of your character and motives online, Katie. Not mine. Does that make sense? We'll see you in the next one.
Katie, you can't run with the hair and the hands. When it suited you, you have used Boohoo Effect, Braden Landon, as if he is the voice of truth, as if everything he says is gospel. You have, every word that he has said has been thunder, and oh yes, he's a stand-up guy and all of this shit. But he's the one who outed you as the Matrix. He made 3 videos outing you as a Matrix. So, as far as I'm concerned, you're the fucking Matrix.